the pillow cover. But oh my gosh, is this one of the most hideous outfits that we've seen from Meghan Markle in a long line of hideousness. This woman has no sense of style, she has no sense of tact, and she chooses ugly garments constantly.
Paris was unwanted, but it has also kicked up controversy once again. Beyond the ill-fitting, uninspired, quite embarrassing outfits, the humongous, ridiculous shoes, the insane duck-facing, as if all that wasn't more
because this is not the I'm gonna save the world Meghan that I envisioned. This is the I'm a celebrity, I'm desperate for a photo, I want it.
They say Paris is the city of love, but for Meghan Markle, that glittering skyline turned into a cold mirror. She came expecting admiration, adoration even, but what she got instead? Crickets. No gasps, no warmth, just the faint rustle of expensive fabric and the hollow click of heels passing her by. And in the world of fashion, darling, indifference cuts deeper than hate.
As this moment here, a visual representation of just how much the Meg does not fit into this space. She is not appropriate for this space, and
Paris Fashion Week, Meghan's long-awaited comeback. This was supposed to be her grand redemption arc. After months of being dragged online and dissected in tabloids, she was ready to reclaim her crown. The cameras were in place, the stars were seated, and 1,000 eyes waited to see if the Duchess could still pull that main character energy. But oh, Paris had other plans.
How to handle herself, or what the proper etiquette is. No matter where she goes, she can't be bothered with etiquette, and that is sad.
Backstage? Normally it's chaos wrapped in perfume. A glamorous storm of stylists shouting, models sprinting, and designers sweating over final stitches. But when Meghan walked in, that electric buzz short-circuited. It was like someone dimmed the lights and turned the air to ice. Every whisper stopped mid-sentence. People noticed. Oh, did they notice?
Where she laughs and turns to her handler, Marcus, who is decidedly not amused. And neither is anyone around them.
Whispers fluttered through the air like mist from a Dior bottle. "She's here," murmured a makeup artist, nervously rearranging brushes that were already perfectly lined. Even the models, those seasoned statues of serenity, shared quick, uneasy glances in the mirror. It wasn't awe, it wasn't excitement, it was discomfort.
Sanderson knows not to be laughing at whatever just happened, but the Meg does not know not to laugh. How? How does Meghan not know to not laugh out loud?
See, Meghan has always been polarizing. Some see her as the brave woman who escaped the royal machine. Others roll their eyes at what they call her victim narrative. But that day, neither side spoke. There was just silence. Thick, suffocating, judgment-filled silence.
The funniest thing, guys, is that she thinks she's hot stuff. And she has no metric in her brain.
And Meghan? She hates silence. She feeds off attention, the smiles, the subtle flattery, the glances that confirm her power. Usually she can read a room like a script, sense the energy, shift her tone, dial up the charm. But this time, nothing. No nods, no warmth, not even fake politeness. And when the applause in her head went missing, so did her confidence.
Because she's trying so hard. The strutting is amazing. So let's just first overall talk about the fashion and why Meghan Markle was at this Balenciaga show. So I did just do a Meghan Markle search.
Witnesses say her smile stiffened, her posture turned military rigid, and her assistant hovered closer, like a human shield against the frost forming around her.
Again, this looks like pajamas. This looks like a Pope's outfit. This looks like a ghost Halloween costume. At any point, does this look good? No. The answer is
now, maybe it wasn't personal. Paris remembers everything. Fashion insiders still haven't forgotten how she and Harry went nuclear on the British press, and by extension, the very system that made her famous. In fashion, reputation is couture. One bad stitch and you're out. Still, the chill in that room wasn't just business, it was personal, and Meghan could feel it. The woman who once commanded attention now couldn't even command eye contact. One insider said it best. She thought this would be her big Paris moment. Turns out, everyone else had moved on, and she didn't get the memo. Paris didn't need to speak. Its silence screamed. For someone who'd lived under royal spotlights and Hollywood flashes, Fashion Week should have been her natural element. Meghan knew her angles, her smile, her light. But what she didn't know was how it feels when those same cameras click without enthusiasm. Sure, the lenses still flickered, but the frenzy was gone. It wasn't, "Oh my God, it's Meghan" anymore. It was mechanical, like checking off an obligation. Even the red carpet reporters, those eternal eternal hype machines looked bored. See, Paris doesn't fall for pretense. It adores authenticity, and it can sniff out insecurity from a mile away. That night, the city caught a whiff. Meghan's laugh was too tight, her posture too rehearsed, her sparkle dimmed. Even the silk couldn't hide the strain. Then came the whispers. Not about her outfit, which was stunning to be fair, or her jewelry, or even her poise. No, this gossip was more insidious. Something invisible. Something olfactory. Rumor had it Meghan didn't smell fresh. Some whispered it was nerves, a mix of stress, perfume, and adrenaline. Others said it was just off. And you know Paris, it doesn't do pity, it does performance. Once that rumor sparked, there was no stopping it. The harder she smiled, the more awkward the room became. By the end of the show, the glamour had evaporated. What should have been her glittering comeback turned into a slow-motion unraveling. Paris had turned on her, not with hate, but with something colder, indifference. The backstage chatter was merciless. Some said a model tripped and Meghan laughed. Others swore it wasn't at that. It was something else entirely. But here's the thing, no one else laughed. And in fashion, you never laugh when someone falls. Soon, whispers evolved into something nastier. Stylists joked about her off aura. Someone claimed she smelled like cheap perfume and nerves. Cruel? Absolutely. But cruelty is currency in that world. Behind the velvet curtains, the champagne-soaked elite traded gossip faster than hashtags. And while Meghan smiled for the cameras outside, the rumor mill spun into overdrive. By the time she left the venue, the whispers had escaped the walls. Social media caught fire. Snarky captions, side eyes, and one haunting refrain. Something was off about her tonight. And in that moment, the Paris elite didn't need to cancel Meghan Markle. They just stopped clapping. What happened next? Oh, it got messy. The whispers about her off aura were barely cooling off when another bomb dropped. And this time, it hit right at the heart of her image, her fashion. One stylist was overheard saying icily, "Balenciaga didn't crown her. They tolerated her." And that, in Parisian terms, is a slap in diamonds. See, in that world, when a designer creates a custom look for you, it's more than generosity. It's an endorsement, a symbol that you're worth the brand's name. But Meghan's team, they had to beg for those samples. One PR insider whispered that the negotiation was painfully awkward. The brand didn't call her. Her team called them. They pushed, they pleaded, and Balenciaga, wanting to avoid drama, eventually caved. It wasn't excitement, said one source. It was management diplomacy. And that's the cruel rule of Paris. True stars don't chase fashion. Fashion chases them. Backstage, the scene only got more embarrassing. Assistants reportedly tried to make last-minute alterations without permission. "We had to remind them," said a designer's aide. "Samples aren't meant to be tailored." She didn't seem to understand that this wasn't her show. Ouch. Outside, Meghan was radiant. The cameras caught her signature smile, that practiced chin tilt, the perfect Duchess posture. But behind the flashbulbs, it was clear. She wasn't the main event anymore. She was an accessory in a room that had already moved on, and that was just the beginning of her Paris nightmare. Because right as the couture chaos unfolded, another storm brewed, this one with Balenciaga written all over it. The brand, still stained by its dark past controversy involving children, was crawling its way back from scandal. So when Meghan showed up, smiling, glowing, posing, front row at their show, jaws dropped. The timing couldn't have been worse. Meghan Markle, the self-proclaimed advocate for child protection and online safety, was now sitting pretty in a brand that had been globally dragged for disturbing imagery involving minors. The Hypocrisy practically wrote its own headline. Even French television anchors couldn't resist the shade. How can she preach morality while posing for this brand? One commentator scoffed. Paris is ruthless that way, sharp, sarcastic, and surgical. The Duchess of Sussex, the woman who built her post-royal brand on compassion, integrity, and raising awareness, had just aligned herself with the very label people were still furious at. The backlash was instant. Twitter erupted with snark. "The Duchess of Double Standards," read one viral post. TikTok went feral. Creators stitched together clips of Meghan smiling at the show with the infamous Balenciaga campaign photos, captioned, "Activist or actress." And the internet didn't stop there. Fashion insiders began whispering that her presence wasn't just tone-deaf, it was reckless. "She's toxic PR right now," murmured one editor. No brand wants the controversy rub-off. Even the outlets that usually sugarcoat her image were at a loss. Meghan wasn't being framed as a victim anymore. She was the contradiction. And then came the drive. After the show, when the cameras were packed up and the champagne flutes cleared, reports surfaced that Meghan's car had driven through the tunnel. The Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Yes, the one where Princess Diana died. At first, everyone thought it was just a coincidence. Paris is full of tunnels, right? But then someone noticed she'd posted a video, a drive through that very same route. The internet lost its mind. She couldn't have not known, said one French journalist. She studied Diana's life like a script. That route isn't random, and they weren't wrong. Meghan has long drawn comparisons between herself and Diana, in compassion, fashion, even tragedy. But this was too much. To many, it didn't feel like a tribute. It felt like an eerie reenactment. Harry's book, Spare, even mentions that tunnel, the trauma of driving through it, the ghosts it carries, which made Meghan's post feel even more deliberate. When her team released a statement saying the route was unintentional, the public didn't buy it. Unintentional, one columnist wrote. Nothing Meghan does is unintentional. Online, side-by-side videos went viral. Meghan's sleek black car juxtaposed with Diana's final moments. The captions read like daggers. History repeating itself or being staged. Paris was horrified. For a city that treats Diana like a saint, Meghan's move was seen as sacrilege. The woman who once claimed to carry Diana's torch now looked like she was chasing her ghost. Even her fans, the diehard ones, hesitated. Was it homage, one asked, or was it theater? And in Paris, where respect is art, it came across as cheap performance. A French fashion critic summed it up in one brutal line. Diana's tragedy came from circumstance. Meghan's comes from choice. The symbolism, the poses, the smiles, it all started to feel rehearsed. And in a city that worships authenticity, that's the kiss of death. By the next morning, every glossy tabloid from London to LA was running some variation of the same headline. From tribute to travesty, Meghan's Paris misstep. And the worst part? Even those who'd once defended her had gone quiet, because it wasn't just about what she wore or where she went. It was about what she'd become. A woman chasing the shadow of a princess instead of writing her own story. Paris woke up colder than ever. By day 3 of Fashion Week, Meghan wasn't just being whispered about. She was being ignored. The kind of silence that burns worse than words. Designers who once fawned over her were suddenly unavailable. PR agents stopped replying. Even photographers, those fame-hungry hunters, lowered their cameras when she walked by. The once unstoppable Duchess had become invisible. One veteran stylist summed it up. She came for validation. She left with echoes. And in Paris, that's the cruelest fate of all. The city doesn't boo. It just stops clapping. The final blow came with one haunting image. Meghan, standing alone at the Balenciaga after-party, her smile fixed, but eyes uncertain. The caption that went viral said it all. When your invite was